Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I am your host, Scott Ramp, and I'm here to usher you into the weekend. It is February 5th, but I record this on February 4th. So let's kind of talk about what a lot of things are going on here in the city of Missoula and beyond. One of the things is that stocks to the people, as we're seeing that the GameStop stocks were bet against by venture capitalists, hedge funds. A group of Redditors came together using the guise of r/Wall Street bets to buy stocks from GameStop, effectively not only pushing up the stock prices, but also making the hedge funds lose billions of dollars. Of course, what you may be hearing from CNBCs and other major investment investors and Wall Street folks is that that they're trying to hold these hedge funds and are trying to hold these small-time stock buyers feet to the fire, going so far as to get Robinhood app, which has allowed for a lot of these Redditors to use to buy stocks through their app as well. One of the things that Robinhood did was basically stop all trading whatsoever for a lot of the GameStop stocks as well moving forward, and so a lot of Redditors are trying to put a lawsuit against them as well, but since this is a private entity, much like how Twitter banned Trump, it's basically their forum or their app is considered their private property, and through the terms of use, they can allow to basically stop altogether. And you can learn more about that if you actually look at, there is a YouTuber named Legal Eagle that kind of goes a little bit further about this, and it's very, very interesting about this. But there's just a lot of things going on here and there, and I think that one of the things that a lot of these hedge funds are doing to kind of recoup a lot of their lost money through their hedge fund bet against GameStop is they're looking into betting against AMC. And so part of this is that a lot of the Redditors have moved towards buying AMC stock, which currently on Thursday, from what I saw, was about $7 per share. So that's one of the things that are also going on here as well. Of course, there's a lot of information. There's always been a lot of people trying to push up stocks, sell low, buy high, buying the short, which in terms is basically betting against things to fail. And that's what, if you watch The Big Short, the whole idea, a lot of these groups started noticing is that there was a bubble that was about to burst within the housing market. And so they bet against. And part of this is that they ended up paying more. They paid money into these stocks because the people who actually own the stocks were getting money from this. But with these shorts, The Big Short, if you ever seen that movie, Adam McKay made that movie. That's a little more information about it. There's a lot of things. It's the whole concept of Wall Street kind of like saying that the people are treating this like a casino. And in a way, it's always been treated like a casino because you bet on stocks, like companies. You buy the stocks and you're like, oh, cool. And then there's the idea that now you can basically buy, do money to bet on companies to fail, and you can make money that way too. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, but most of the stuff is not illegal. Just a lot of the billionaire clubs and all that stuff are starting to lose money, and a lot of people are starting to take notice. And this is basically going to change the way we look at Wall Street moving forward. So this is kind of a huge deal, getting out of this interesting time that we live in. But one thing also, but we're not going to talk about that anymore, but we're going to talk a little bit about housing and affordable housing in the north side of Missoula. So on the north side, on the other side of the tracks, the city of Missoula bought up about 19 acres of land using TIF funding, and they looked into purchasing a lot of these homes and working with a developer to move forward on creating affordable housing. But also with the purchase, the city will be using a lot of the money that they've put into this through taxes and whatnot to put back into the community land trust. I'll talk a little bit more about this during my city council report later in the show, but it's one of the largest affordable housing developments in the state of Montana. So it's kind of a big deal. Of course, as we move into this pandemic, there's a lot of bills, and I looked this up on the Missoula Current. website as well, and they're kind of highlighted a lot of House bills that are going to affect the powers that are being in terms of the Missoula Health Department, and also how local entities are working with the health departments as well. And so local health departments are being eyed to House Bill 121 under current law that mandates and orders issued by public boards of health cannot be altered by local governments. Through this, they seek to change this by allowing elected officials to change or reserve public health orders during states of emergency. So part of this is like during the pandemics and emergency, the health boards of local communities have powers to enact and enforce, not necessarily indeed enforce, because in terms of enforcement, a lot of times what they've been doing is fining and basically saying is that a lot of these places can't open unless they're up to code, much like the health department has always done with this. But there's a lot of interesting kind of deals what's going on here as well. Another bill, which is HB 236, would restrict any penalty fines by the health department. So this bill is very kind of tabled. There's not a lot of things in terms of that, in terms of fines, because think about it in terms of like if you have a restaurant that poisons people through like salmonella and that stuff like that, the health board doesn't fine them, or they have no incentives against that. So there's a lot of kind of back and forth with that in terms of that. But many proponents of this particular bill, House Bill 236, said that health officials should not dictate people's ability to stay home. And the whole idea is changing the wording in quarantine to match isolating. So they don't want to. A lot of them are saying like you can't make people stay home. Let's see. What else was there? I totally forgot. Yeah. So anyways, that kind of wraps it up for what's going on in the House right now. There's a lot of rollbacks in terms of health departments and local communities within the state. But I'm going to say something controversial myself now, as an opinion based on me, is that there's a lot of bills in place to cover people's asses and not their mouths. Up next, we got a taste of ZACC social distancing sessions from the band Aeroleaf. And then when I come back, we get some pre-critic.
Falling
Hey guys, welcome back. It's time for Pre-Critic. This is where I prejudge a movie, whether it needs it completely or not, but this is where I prejudge a movie based on absolutely nothing, but maybe a poster, maybe a trailer, maybe kind of look at the synopsis a little bit, and just me using my basic knowledge of story structure to come up with a basic criticism of this movie called Earwig and the Witch. So here's the premise of the movie. You got a little orphan girl who basically gets adopted by witches, warlocks, wizards, demons, whatever. But it's not quite that. It's the whole kind of the point of this movie is that people are mostly complaining about the fact that this is made by Studio Ghibli and it is not hand-drawn. And most people who like Studio Ghibli really like their whole hand-drawn, you know, Princess Mononoke, Castigliogo, I can never pronounce that, but you got a whole bunch of other movies as well that in their vein of movies. But this is 3D CGI, in which most critics hate it already because of that, and I hate it. Basically because the story seems like it's pretty worn out, so we jump into another kind of Kiki's Delivery Service where a little girl wants to become a witch and is in the house with two people who are kind of like doing their own thing. And she's kind of a troublemaker, and that's kind of the whole thing. It's a strong female protagonist as she kind of figures out how to become less of a sociopath throughout this movie, but actually doesn't learn. And there's also music in it, so because she sings in the band, I don't know. Check it out. Earwig and the Witch. This next one, is a romance drama called Falling. Okay, so it follows a couple reconnecting after all these years, only to find that one of them is dying. I'm going to do a pause right there for a second. Here's the thing about romance movies, especially the dramas, is that they always fall into the same routine, as in, like, you have two people who fall in love, and one of them has to die. Plain and simple. And they don't actually talk about the kind of like the fallout, the continuation after the person dies. It's kind of like, it just kind of ends with a slight hopeful note, just like, this person always loved me. It's cry bait. You're basically paying for a movie where you're going to cry. It kind of, okay, so anyways. So I looked at the synopsis just a little bit, and Falling, and by the poster should call. So basically, from what I saw from the poster, it kind of looks like they should call this movie Talk to the Hand. But it's a byproduct of the 90s. How can I say that? So basically, this kind of looks like On Golden Pond. Remember that movie with Henry Fonda? In which an older man is set in his ways to be left alone, only to be confronted by not in my backyard situation that comes from a forefront of an emotional climax that will leave no eyes dry. What else is about this movie do you need to know? Alright, next, we got a video game that just came out, and you get to play as a werewolf. It's called Werewolf, The Apocalypse, Earthbound. It might be missing fourth game of the Earthbound series, but we don't know that. Nope, you play as the eco-terrorist werewolf fighting against the evil corporation called Pentex or something. A little on the nose for certain things. Anyways, you have abilities as a werewolf. You get to sneak around as a full wolf, then you get to do kind of like a big wolf man kind of deal, and you get to fight people. It's really not that interesting. I'm assuming the plot is just kind of like you're going against this corporation, and then turns out the people that you trusted die, and you have to fight the corporation even harder and do things and stuff like that. So did I also mention that you're an Irishman and you represent a tribe of many different other werewolves that might fight each other? And I'm assuming the corporation has something to do with the supernatural as you dive deeper into a dark world with myths and legends. Fighty, bitey, bitey. There's some vampires maybe in it. There you go. And that concludes your pre-critic, where I prejudge entertaining things that'll get your mind off of things for a while. But hey, I just saved you some money on basic plot devices in most games and movies. Alright, so up next, we got a movie for you guys, and it is A Star is Born, from the 1937 movie, before it gets remade a half a dozen times. And without further ado, here is Dubbin' Stuff.
Oh man, what I tell ya, I just love all this food. I want to talk to my food. Yes, I want to do that to my cows, and I want the cows to understand that I forgive them for being killed. Okay. stabbing. What else do I need to do? What kind of motivation do I need to stab a cow?
Ugh, crazy lady. I guess I'll just sit here.
You want the lunch special? You want the soup? You want the fries? You want the pie?
Move aside. I got this.
That's exactly what I wanted. Mwah. So tell me, what's the deal with the lady across the bar talking to herself?
She's just acting or whatever. So now, did the cow deserve to be stabbed? Do I want to eat the cow later? Maybe I should get to know the cow a little bit better and completely immerse myself in the cow. Maybe I should dress up as the cow. You know, while the cow's giving birth, I can pretend to be a calf, and then the mother can raise me as that cow.
Out of pepper.
And then, after a couple of years, when I get old enough, I'm gonna kill that cow. And I'm gonna say, I'm sorry, Mama, that's just the way of the law of the land. I just love the taste of that cow in my mouth.
Did she just say she ate her own mama cow? This is weird.
Yeah. Ha ha ha, out with the old, in with the new, old lady. Because this is Animal Farm. Oh, wow. You must have just heard me do an Animal Farm in the script.
Well, you were really elevating that piece of crap.
Well, you know how it is. Auditions.
I knew all too well for that. I just wanted to be a puppeteer.
Maybe you should get into the visual effects business.
Well, I can start a fraudulent business in Chapter 11 bankruptcy and collect all the money.
Well, LLCs are really easy to do.
Yeah, but enough about that topic. How about your audition? When is it? What do you exactly... Wait a minute. You're perfect. I know the perfect role for you. Come with me.
Well, I've never said no to a stranger before. Oh, hold on a second. This better not be like Oklahoma and Texas border crossing.
I have no idea why I'm here.
This guy said I was perfect for something.
Oh, that's it.
I'm an actor, and I'm here to act as much as you want me to act.
And if you don't hire, I will be severely annoyed. Okay. Oh. Well, that was easy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh.
You're about to see the preview of a picture that has not been finally edited. Your opinion will be appreciated. Please mail comment cards.
This is where the music goes. 1930s. Swell of violins precede the music with the introduction. Yeah, movie. Oh, man. Oh, come on, don't worry about it. This is gonna be a great movie. Oh, are these nails freshly polished?
They're still wet, so just be... Oh, God, never mind. Forget it.
Thanks for that. One of these movies?
Hey guys, welcome back. It's time for my city council report. We're kicking things off with your regular city council meeting, which was really short, about like 27 minutes short. And so, just enough for a quorum. So I'll give you some of the clip notes. And Gwen Jones is talking about green tariffs, that if Missoula were to move forward, would make a very first step in creating clean energy by their 2030 for the city of Missoula. So this one would also open up to a lot of things, and this is what Gwen Jones from the city council had to say.
We addressed the interlocal agreement for green tariffs, and it's just such a good thing. I wanted to highlight it, even though it's in the consent agenda. I heard from several constituents after we had it in committee last week that they were thrilled with this, and this is going to ultimately create the analysis so that in the long run, we hope to have some alternative energy sources via Northwestern Energy that are renewable, and through this green tariff analysis, people will be able to choose those if they want. So I'm really thrilled that we are taking a firm step forward down this road of starting to figure out how to make renewables work, and that our community will hopefully have that option in the long run. So I just wanted to highlight that because sometimes the consent agenda doesn't get a lot of attention, but this is a great thing for Missoula.
So far, the city has been working with the Northwestern Energy to help move forward with solar, wind power as well. It is as a local effort to utilize green energy for the long run. But from what I've seen from all these green energy presentations over the years, it seems that if you want to do solar energy yourself, you would have to pay for engineering, and the costs would start to roll back in terms of power in itself for about 4 or 5 years. You have more than the right to do it yourself, but that's mostly engineering costs and installations. Brian Van Lossberg also mentions that this is a countywide effort with many groups helping pay for these green tariffs in the future, and also being able to allow people to jump on their own if they so choose. In terms of master fee schedules, so the Green Initiative, they're moving forward with this, and this is the city basically trying to bring in green tariffs for them to pay to move forward with cleaner green energy, but also creating a component for individuals and households to be able to pay for green tariffs on their own so they can move towards green energy on their own terms. All right, let's move on over to the Parks and Rec. They're talking about a master fee every year. They talk about raising the rates for renting parks and whatnot. This year, they chose not to. During the pandemic, there were a lot of things happening, but the one things they wanted to clarify is that if they have gatherings of 10 people or less, which a lot of small gatherings were part of the happenings that were over the summer, so they kind of adjusted it for smaller groups. So what they would do is it would be $10 for nonprofits if you have a group of 10 or less, and if you're a for-profit organization kind of renting a park, it would be $15 per hour. So that's kind of like some of the clarities they wanted to clarify. They jumped into city council comments, in which is the sign of the end of the meeting. Stacey Anderson talks about the vaccination clinic, a little bit more information about COVID in Missoula.
Everyone who participated in being a vaccinator and those folks who packed their patients and waited in line, I would encourage the rest of the community to please, we are trying to get as many vaccines into arms as quickly as possible. The county health department has been doing yeoman's work, and I know it's been a long 11 months, and it feels like the light is almost at the end of the tunnel, and people are very excited about getting vaccines, but we are only allotted a little bit, and that's out of our control. So as you continue to check the county's website and check in with your providers and call into those hotlines with folks, just please just take an extra moment of patience.
And that's pretty much it for your city council report. Actually, wait, why did I say report? No, the city council meeting for Monday. I have a lot more to talk about, and this, like I promised, was the committee of the whole. So during committee of the whole, the city moved forward on building new affordable housing within the city of Missoula. $6 million of TIF money went to 19 acres of land on the north side, next to Scott Street, which is next to White Pine Park, north of that. Wednesday, they spoke on what they plan to do with this land. In short, it's affordable housing, secured not only for the first-time home buyers, but future buyers through a community trust. Mayor John Engen talks on this.
And at the end of the day, what we get here for the sale of this property and our investment of infrastructure and more is a housing development, a mixed-use development with permanent affordability, including a land trust model. In addition, this project will be designed within the context of the Northside neighborhood. We will be looking at the infrastructure that's necessary in that neighborhood to mitigate the impacts of development. And this we believe will not be the first high quality development in this.
So a little bit of history of the north side as well is that this site is industrial. And after the Title 20 downtown master plan, along with a place called Home for Affordable Housing, the north side has been converted into mixed residential and commercial over the last 5 years or so. This was a former industrial site, and a lot of the site is already being cleaned up. Aaron Pean, Director of Housing and Community Outreach, speaks more to affordable housing.
This project, as presented, is estimated to construct 70 permanently affordable community land trust homes. Community land trust homes are typically run by a nonprofit corporation that holds the land on behalf of a place-based community or a particular neighborhood, while serving as the long-term steward for affordable housing. Land trusts have legal mechanisms in place to protect affordability, and we have several very successful land trusts in operation in Missoula today.
One example of the nonprofit they probably could use is Homeward, which helps Missoulians become first-time home buyers. And another neat thing about the Community Land Trust is that it is political proof, which means the city governments and nonprofits may change, but this community trust will continue on, and money that goes into this will continue on to new homes and also sustaining affordable housing through the city of Missoula. So far, the good news is that these new homes that are being built on the north side will cover 77% of the 5-year plan to build affordable housing under this purview. As one of the largest in the state, mind you, this will keep taxes low and be filtered into the Affordable Housing Trust, and also be able to expand in areas and other Missoula communities. So with this area, the Affordable Land Trust, people who move in and pay the taxes on this as well would help put money back into the Affordable Housing Trust and continue on moving forward and building upon that as well. So a lot of good news, a lot of recycling with money that goes into this as well. The developer they have gone with is Rivara LLC. Will be working towards making homes that best reflect the neighborhood, and will be taking public input as well as they move forward on development. Here's Dale Bickel, Chief Administrative Officer with the City of Missoula. This is what he had to say.
And the first aspect of this is the planning process. So again, private sector driven. Rivara will engage a consultant and that will provide a conceptual design for the site, the entire 9-acre parcel. And also will provide a conceptual design for adjacent city-owned sites. We are working towards finishing our public works master plan, and we can use this process to help do some conceptual design there, so we can ensure that that any development the city does related to public works has a good transitions to this site.
$7.30 per square foot to match the commercial requirements were also noted on the bottom of the slide. So far, they want to create housing units that range from 24 minimum to about 43 units per acre. This is a big deal since just south of this area are all those new homes that were developed a few years back. Ellen Buchanan, Missoula Redevelopment Agency, speaks on the density.
One of the things that we see as a real opportunity here, and we see the same opportunity with the MRL property that we purchased on Johnson and North Avenue, is the ability to create a new model for how we provide housing and how we provide some degree of density. And I'm not supposed to use that word anymore without having to pay $1, but I'll spend my dollar right now. But how we maximize these sites, and we create a new model for our development community to demonstrate that you can mix housing types, you can mix income groups, you can create many neighborhoods or components of neighborhoods, and not follow the same development patterns that we've historically followed since probably the 40s and 50s.
Ellen Buchanan also goes in to explain that mixed development will allow for better diversity and creativity in this area. Part of the background on this was that the city purchased the land using tax increment financing and will continue to use it for creation of affordable housing in the area. Heidi West, City Council member and also a member of Ward 1, which covers the North Side area, is happy how this turned out.
Just think it's super exciting how many boxes this checks off in line with our housing policy and our housing goals. It provides significant funding for our Housing Trust Fund, but it also more than doubles the amount of permanently affordable homeownership homes that we have in our community, and that is a huge accomplishment. And I look forward, excuse me, to the public processes that will still come. I think that is also exciting, just that there is still a lot of opportunity for the neighbors to weigh in what is going to happen here.
But what does affordable housing necessarily mean for a lot of people? Erin Pean, once again, talks some more about people's income in terms of affordable housing in this particular area.
I think this infusion does a lot of things. It helps us really maximize the potential of this project with the Community Land Trust homes to provide home ownership opportunities for folks really earning all the way from 80% of area median income, which tends to be kind of the income level where folks need a boost, but can maintain that mortgage payment into the home buyer market, all the way up to that workforce level, which we sometimes talk about 120% of area median income. And just to point out, when we talk about 120% of area median income, we're talking about typically two individuals who make around $16 or $17 each. And so those are for folks in the retail sector, folks working in the hospitality industry. That we're not talking about high income earners in our community.
So far, the city moved forward on this during the committee of the whole, and we'll discuss it with public comment on Monday. And they're going to talk a little bit more about moving forward. They're going to, the developer is going to look for more public input and exactly what they want this development to look like. But part of this, and the main thing I want people to take away from this, is that this is the approval to move forward with development. So it's just like, we want to develop. We're going to develop now. Boom. It's just a vote to be like, we want to develop. And now they're moving forward with development. So it's not necessarily the final approval of what a lot of these houses in this area is going to look like, but it is the approval to get to that point. All right, so if you want to learn more information about this, you can go to ci.missoula.mt.us. They have agenda items, meetings, and also you can join the meeting through Zoom. And also they have a component on there for people who want to call into your city committee meetings and also the city of Missoula. But I want to say that here is the latest COVID briefing from the Missoula Health Department to kind of keep you updated on what's going on here in Missoula.
Hi, my name's Cindy Farr, and I'm the Incident Commander for the Missoula City County Health Department's COVID-19 response. Today is Tuesday, February 2nd, and this is my COVID briefing. First, I just want to say I'm sorry I missed y'all last week. I was out sick all week, but now I am back. So let's start with the numbers. We've had 7,726 cumulative positive cases of COVID in Missoula County to date, with 21 new cases since yesterday. We've had 81 deaths associated with COVID-19. And currently 14 Missoula County residents and 6 non-county residents remain hospitalized in Missoula County. We currently have 179 active COVID-19 cases. Those active cases and their identified close contacts do remain in isolation and quarantine and are being supported as needed. Our current average incidence per 100,000 people has dropped to 23. And that's great news. All of these numbers, as well as the graphs and figures associated, are on our website at missoulainfo.com. The state of Montana is reporting 94,384 cumulative COVID-19 cases, which is up 317 new cases since yesterday. There are now 3,593 active cases, with 116 active hospitalizations across the state. And there have been 1,249 deaths related to COVID-19 statewide. The University of Montana has had 612 cumulative associated cases since the beginning of fall semester back in August, with 2 new cases reported since yesterday. There are currently 13 active associated cases. Across the state and across the nation, we are seeing a downward trend in case numbers. While this is very encouraging, it is still important to practice those prevention measures that we've been doing for nearly a year now. Practice that social distancing, wear a mask when you're out in public places, keep your social circles small, and continue that frequent hand washing. With the vaccine rolling out, we would like to think that we're nearly out of this pandemic, but we are still seeing COVID transmission. There have now been 3 distinct variant strains that have been identified across the world, and 2 of those have made their way into the United States population. We have not identified any of those variant strains of COVID in Montana yet, but the State Public Health Lab is actively testing samples to watch for those strains. Right now, we do not have much data on these variants, but believe that the vaccines that are currently being distributed will prevent you from getting infected with the variant strains as well as the original COVID-19 strain. And we can talk more about that as more research comes available. So now let's talk about vaccine distribution. Here at the Health Department, we've set up a vaccination clinic at the Old Lucky's Market in Southgate Mall. We did a mass vaccination clinic for those who are in phase 1B and are 70 years or older and are Native American or persons of color. Our first clinic was last Thursday, and then we had another clinic on Sunday. These 2 clinics gave us an opportunity to test out our strategy and make necessary changes to ensure that we have a smooth process going forward. We received a lot of valuable feedback from the community about our sign-up system and the difficulties that that system presented, and we are exploring other options to make that process easier. In the future, we will put our sign-up system for vaccine appointments on a regular schedule when our vaccine supply stabilizes and we get predictable notice as to when and how much vaccine we'll be receiving. This week, the state did not directly give us at the health department any vaccine, and we're working with our community partners to figure out how to best share the vaccine allocation across the county in order to best serve you in the community. We super appreciate your patience as the vaccine is trickling into Missoula County at about 1,200 to 1,500 doses per week. We do hope that the supply will increase, but we're doing the best with what we have available to us right now. We are exploring better options for giving notice when our sign-up system is active. While the national vaccine shortage continues to make supply and our ability to hold clinics really uncertain at this time. We currently have no plans to create a sign-up list or a waiting list. With roughly 40,000 people qualifying for vaccine under Phase 1B, we believe that if we were to create a list like that, it would be incredibly hard to manage. In our past experience with H1N1, we found that the wait list only creates bottlenecks and really slows down the process. For those of you out there who are primary care patients of places that are offering vaccine, we ask that you try not to sign up for a vaccination through a public clinic. Because you have access to a vaccine resource that's not being offered publicly, we ask that you not take away the very limited public appointments. However, if your private provider signed up to give vaccines but is not being given any doses, you're still definitely welcome to book an appointment at one of the public clinics. A list of private clinics that are offering vaccine to their patients can be viewed at covid19.missoula.co. To date, Missoula County has given out 12,911 doses of vaccine. While this process has been painfully slow due to the national shortage of vaccine, the only county in Montana that has given more vaccine as of right now is Yellowstone County. If you'd like to see the numbers of vaccine distributed across the state, please check out the COVID map on the DPHHS website. At the top, there's a tab to show a map of the vaccine distribution. Lastly, I would like to encourage you to please read all of our information on vaccines and the FAQs on MissoulaInfo.com. And please take a look at the vaccine information at covid19.missoula.co before emailing us with questions. We are receiving hundreds of emails, and we're finding that many of the questions that people are asking are actually already answered on our website. So if you have access to the web, definitely take a look at those FAQs and see if you might be able to get your questions answered that way. That is it for my daily briefing today. I know that was a lot of information into a very short amount of time. I will be back on Thursday, and hopefully we'll have some updates for you then. As always, you can subscribe to me on YouTube under my name, Cindy Farr. That's CINDYFARR. Click the notification bell so you get notified when additional videos are uploaded. You can follow us on Facebook at the Missoula City County Health Department's Facebook page. And again, check out our website at MissoulaInfo.com. You can also schedule an appointment or ask any questions that you have about COVID if you call 258-INFO. And that is it for today. Until Thursday, everybody, stay healthy.
Well, we're about to wrap up the show for you guys today, and I just wanted to mention that the ZACC is going to be putting on another live stream this Saturday, and we're going to be covering another, I believe it's going to be another band. I probably should have looked this up before I came back, because then that way I wouldn't have to vamp some more. So, Revival Comedy Night. So, this Saturday they're going to do a comedy night, and it's going to be live streamed through the Zootown Community Arts Center, and it's going to be on their YouTube page, and it's also going to be on their Facebook page. And if you can't find any of that, you can always go to MCAT.org. MCAT.org is your source for everything Missoula-related programming. So far, MCAT has been doing a good amount of programmings through the community, but mostly we've been kind of sticking to a lot of government programs. We are doing the Mansfield Dialogue series, and I believe that we're going to be also, which is going to be exciting, is that Dr. Anthony Fauci is going to be zooming in on a meeting for the Mansfield Dialogue to talk about stuff. You know, I'm assuming you know Dr. Fauci, who is the lead of the COVID task force for the United States of America, and he's going to be talking to the University of Montana on Wednesday, February 17th, which is about a week from this coming Wednesday. So you guys can enjoy. I don't know if it's going to be a Q&A for sure, but it is going to be accessing community leaders and also be talking to Anthony Fauci, who will be presenting to our community here in Missoula. So that's going to be pretty exciting. There's a lot of other things that are happening. More, I mean, like right now the library is not opening, so MCAT's technically not open in terms of that. But if you are interested in learning more about MCAT, you can go to MCAT.org. Once again, I want to thank you guys for joining me, and for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Rand.